As regards substantive issues, I would like to raise 3 points. The first one is that DPF is clearly an improvement. The second is that there remain some gray areas. And the third is the conclusion that implementation and reviews will be key. So clearly, DPF is an improvement over the Privacy Shield legal framework. It's an improvement by making, especially, the Executive Order 14086. It's an improvement by making the principles of proportionality and necessity applied to the US legal framework on signal intelligence, by providing a list of legitimate objectives for such activities, and that by creating a redress mechanism with 2 stages complaint mechanism, and especially the DPRC, as mentioned by my fellow speaker. So clearly, all things being equal, we should consider DPF as a positive step forward, a peaceful and stable legal framework for data transfer. However, that's my second point, there remain some issues. Most of them have actually been raised by the EDPB opinion dated February 2023, but also by the Libe Parliament Committee's opinion. And of course, the EDPB recognizes some improvements over the previous legal framework, but if you have read, very precisely its opinion, you will notice that the word, however, appeared 44 times out of 54 pages, and the word nevertheless only 7 times. Among other concerns, I will quote the following. The fact that in the case of bulk data collection, there is a lack of independent prior authorization. Another issue is the lack of clear and strict data retention rules and lack of stricter safeguards concerning dissemination of data collected in bulk. Due to the problem of the problem of onward transfers, which still, to my point of view, and remain in a gray area, and EDPB has called for more frequent reviews. So we will see how the Commission will address in the latest version of the DPF this call. Moreover, as stated in paragraph 32 of the EDPB opinion, we notice that some new exemption from the data privacy framework may be added in the future. In this respect, we all know how the definition of risks to national security interests is contingent to the geopolitical moving context. Iraq was a threat in the past. Then terrorism. Now the question is, the Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine. So, and national security might be at risk if there is a universal and a global severe pandemic, etc., etc. Lastly, the Libe committee stressed that complainant would be represented by a special advocate designated by the DPRC, but there is no requirement apparently of independence, and asked by myself, neither the PCLOP chair nor the CLPO of the DOJ gave many precision on this respect. Maybe we will have more an in-depth comment on this. Be that as it may be, implementation and reviews will be key. Joint reviews will be crucial in order to assess how the safeguards operate. And I may raise 2 points in this respect, if I may. First, the effective use of the DPF redress mechanism by data subject. In Washington, D.C., during the IAPP DPA's day, we had a very interesting meeting with our counterpart from the DOJ and from US agencies. And there was a general feeling that actually all this mechanism and very complicated legal framework will to a certain extent be useless, because if you look at the Privacy Shield framework, no data subject asked for no data subject complaint. My bet and my experience are that, on the contrary, times have changed since the GDPR implementation data subjects are much more aware of their rights. The Schrems II decision, as well as the implementation of GDPR, have worked as an extremely efficient advertisement campaign in favor of the scrutiny of data transfer. The issue of data sovereignty is, as you know, something which is highly debated by politicians, decision makers in all our jurisdiction. And at least we know that one person will challenge the system by exercising his rights, it's Mr. Schrems. A second point that has been seldom noticed is the difference in the culture to assess complaints and the role of national DPAs. As it has been mentioned, it is up to the European member states' data protection authorities to gather the complaints and send them to the US relevant CLPUs as appropriate public authority. We can expect that the DPAs will be designated as appropriate public authority. That would be consistent. But as an example, and in French public law, as a general principle, each complaint should be and should get a full and comprehensive treatment and should be handled equally to any other complaint, whatever its merits. Therefore, when I personally go to the intelligence service agencies, I have a full list, of data subjects, and I'm exercising their rights on their behalf. And I can tell you that almost half of the list are composed of schizophrenic people, and we will be compelled to send these complaints to the US agencies. So our colleague in the US should be ready to confront such demand.